The term COVID 19 has become a primary household term because of the devastation and suffering it has brought to the economic, political, spiritual, and even the educational foundations of our society. At the onset of this pandemic, many stakeholders in the educational fraternity viewed and experienced this situation with increasing fear. Educators and parents wondered how students would now function as they could no longer receive face to face instruction. But we serve an on time God who worked miraculously through various persons to utilize their talents to skillfully help the students to manage and now master the varied online platforms. Despite the frustrations experienced, we can admit that online learning and by extension, the use of social media have presented lasting advantages. Students' varied learning styles have been catered to, and many of them can now envision themselves working in the different fields of computer science. Yet, it is imperative that as adults, we ensure that they foster and maintain a balanced life. Considering this, for the next 4 to 5 weeks, Seventh-day Adventist educators from public and private schools in the BVI would like to present to you, our viewing audience, tips for enhanced living. As you tune in during various segments, it is hoped that you would be empowered to develop spiritual and familial relationships as you guide your child through this technological era. Our first presenters will be Sister Sarah Bevans and Sister Lizette Matthew. They will be presenting helpful tips to our students' first teachers, parents. The following words, penned by a well-known spiritual author, summarizes our aim, and I quote, "In his wisdom, the Lord has decreed that the family circle is the first and greatest of all educational agencies. It is in the home that the education of the child is to begin. For here, parents as instructors teach children important lessons such as respect, reverence, obedience, and self-control." Sister Bevans and Sister Matthew, please tell us the importance of parents being involved in their child's life.
Good day, viewers. Today we are tasked with the privilege of introducing to you the homeschool team. The homeschool team. What role does the home play in the education of children?
The home is your child's first school, the very first school. Before they go to formal education, formal school setting, the home is your first school.
Okay, so the home is your first school, and this means that the home have a moral component in the rearing of children.
Yes.
This moral component has to do with values, first of all. Children learn values at home. Tell us a little bit about this.
They learn how to be hospitable at home. They learn kindness. They learn how to share. All of this begins at home.
Okay, so the Bible says that we should teach our children diligently. So that means that whatever we mirror to our children, that's what our children will do. And that's where the values are taught, and school reinforce what we are teaching at home.
Right.
So also the home helps bridge connections with the school.
With the school.
How,
That is true.
how can this happen?
Because you are learning at school, and whatever you're learning at school, you're bringing that into the home. So you're making the connection between school and home. So there's your bridge.
Okay, so we integrate what we learn at home, at home. This is done through teaching our children life skills. What are some practical life skills that we can teach our children in our day-to-day activities at home?
Firstly, you could learn how to cook. You learn baking, and with baking, you know you do lots of math, following instructions. That's your grammar right there.
Wow.
You're learning gardening. You take them outside and you do some gardening. That's your science. So it's never ending.
Okay, so the connections are bridged. What we're teaching at what our children are learning at school can be reinforced through life skills teaching at home. And these are things that will stay with children throughout their entire life. They're
Yes.
practical things that are tools for something that is called common sense, that is not really so common, and we must actually stimulate and instill that at home.
At home. Mhm.
Another point that we have indicated here is that students should always be supervised at home. We're talking about the connections, the bridges. We're talking about the home school partnership. So this means that if supervision happens at school,
It has to
supervision
happen
should
at home.
also happen at
At
home.
home.
What are some of the practical ways how we can engage in supervising our children's activities at home?
You have to monitor what they're doing for sure. Don't just leave them to do whatever they're supposed to be doing in terms of schoolwork. You monitor them, you be involved in what they're doing. If you can't be there physically for whatever reason, check in during the day. Send them a WhatsApp. Give them a call. You never know.
Okay, so if you can't be there during the day, so I hope this, if you can't be there during the day, we're referring to maybe teenagers at home, but young children should not be left unsupervised at no time at home. It is important for us to understand that our children's safety is of prior necessity.
It is.
And this means that even if I have my doors locked, I must also supervise their time and their activities on their devices. These resources that are so useful for the online learning and the new life that we're living now,
Right.
they can also be a dangerous thing.
Right.
So we cannot lock our doors and leave our children
Children on the
exposed to
device.
just anything on the worldwide net. But we have to ensure that supervision is being done.
Right.
In another segment, you're going to learn all about that. But what are some ways in which we can ensure that our children, young children, are being supervised?
Make sure you set time limits for the devices. Know what apps the children are on as well. Don't just give them the computer, the laptop, or whatever it is you give them, and leave them to themselves. Know what they're actually going on there too, to view.
Okay.
And it's important to do that.
Okay, so we recap. Our home is the first school.
Very, very first.
There is a connection of moral connection, a moral component that are called our values that our children are going to be learning. And to this, we add the life skills. Isn't that true?
Cooking,
So with all of those pointers, we shall say, we end today with the verse in Isaiah 54:13 that says, all the children shall be taught by the Lord, and great shall be the peace of your children. So we must put, even if it's at the end, we must put priorities where they're due.
Yes.
So our children also should be taught of who?
The Lord.
The Lord.
The Lord.
And by doing
Always.
so, we will reap the reward.
Yes, we will.